Okay, so Debra Granik made Winter's Bone a while ago now, probably around a decade, with what's her face, Jennifer Lawrence, and that was pretty great. I liked that movie a lot. And now she's back with one of my favorites, Ben Foster, and another young girl in a woodsy type scenario. Very reminiscent of Winter's Bone actually. This time the girl's played by Thomasin McKenzie, who I'd never even heard of before, but she's good. I don't know if she's great, but she's good. And she's essentially the protagonist. I mean, Ben Foster, who plays her dad, is in most of the movie too, but she's basically the main character. And the movie's about these two and they live in the woods in the Pacific Northwest. Oh, and it's based on a book too. I forgot to look it up, so I'm not sure if the book's based on real events, but it might be, it felt kinda real. Anyway, they're kinda camping out in the woods, keeping to themselves. He's teaching her about survival and all that stuff, things you need to know. And they seem to like living like that. And they have a really good relationship. It's sweet and kinda cute, but you do get the sense that not everything's hunky-dory over there. But things between the two of them seem pretty good actually. Well, of course the authorities don't like people living out there in the woods, especially with kids. So that's the basic conflict here. They just want to be left alone and live in peace, and the powers that be don't. And what I noticed toward the end of the movie was pretty interesting. You feel for these people. You really understand their reasoning and motivations. But you feel for the daughter for specific reasons. And you feel for the dad too, but for other reasons. And you feel for them as a unit for even different reasons. So there's kind of a lot of layers going on in this thing. From a plot standpoint, it's super simple, but there's just a lot going on under the surface. And I like me some nuance and layers, so that was pretty great for me. And another interesting thing is that you do see the point of the authorities too. They don't come across as evil or bad people either. You do understand them, but their rationale is still kinda flawed, because these people just want to be left alone. They're not hurting anyone. But everyone needs to fit into this neat little box. And I do also understand that there needs to be laws and regulations. And with that comes some issues, because those things aren't very flexible most of the time. So when someone doesn't fit the mold, there's a problem. And I feel like whenever there are rules, there needs to be a room for exceptions too. But that's usually not the case. And that's when situations like this occur. Now from a technical perspective, the first thing you'll notice, and it's pretty difficult not to, is that there's a lot of green in this movie. But the interesting thing is that they went for a very natural look. It's not a very cinematic movie, which would have been easy to do with this kind of landscape. It looks good, but it doesn't draw attention to itself. And I kinda like that. I got to focus on the story and the characters, and not the filmmaking for a change. And it was pretty refreshing actually. I mean, thinking back, I was pretty much completely focused on the characters almost the entire time. And that's pretty impressive to me. To get me to forget all the technical stuff that's going on, it's not easy. But this one did it. And the end was very satisfying. I mean, I saw it coming a mile away, but that's just because it felt pretty much inevitable to me. I mean, you could have gone a number of ways with the story, but only one would have been completely satisfying on every level, and that's the one they went with. The other options would have worked, but would have felt like compromises on some level. This though felt just right. As I said, it felt inevitable. It was the right thing to do. I kinda love this movie. One of my favorites of the year so far. And Debra Granik is 2 for 2 in my books. Quality over quantity any day. And if I have to wait another 8 years for the next movie, I'm fine with that. Take your time. So would I recommend it? Yeah, it's pretty great, man. Definitely worth seeing. So go watch it. Or don't. But you probably should. But remember, I'm not gonna take you camping because I'm not your dad.